At this time, I'd like to call your attention to our textbook in Appendix A.4, page 255. This is an extremely important section. It's so useful, such a good idea. I would love for you to do this, and I'll show you how. This section is all about how to automate your testing for your programs to make sure that you're getting the output that you think you should be getting. So let's have a look at a program from Chapter 3 where we are actually doing some converting from temperature from one temperature to another. So just to remind you, it is back here in the labs, the Chapter 3 labs. So temperature-converter.java. Open that up in JEdit to remind yourself what it does. It's taking temperature and converting it from Fahrenheit to Celsius. And there's a bunch of different numbers that we were using in the lab to test. So for example, if I just do a quick run of temperature converter, please enter a temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. I just have some memorized because off the top of my head I know that 212 degrees Fahrenheit should be 100 degrees Celsius, so that was an easy tester for me. So 212 and it would give me 100 degrees Celsius. Well, we also use the number 22 as a testing point to make sure that our output had the right number of decimal places, that kind of thing in it. So let me do that one. So this was one of my tests where I was making sure that this was the right thing and that this was the right thing. So if I know what I'm expecting for output, the idea is now I can write some files that that have that same data in them, so I can automate my testing. Now, what you can write your files in, any text editor is fine. I guess I'll use JEdit because you're using JEdit. Let's have a look. So in JEdit, I'll make a new file, and I'm going to save it right into that Chapter 3 area. So let me save it here in Chapter 3, and I'm going to call it, they have an example in the book which I'll follow, I guess, which is it doesn't matter really, converter.expected, so I think they use .exp, and here is where I'm just going to paste some of my expected output. So, for example, I can put this one, 22 degrees F, and copy that whole thing using Command-C, switch to JEdit, paste in here. So this is what I expect to have if I'm using 22 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, one more new file in JEdit here. File new, and I'll save this also in Chapter 3, and this one I'll save as tempconverter.in, and I will put 22 as my input for this example. Hit enter. Okay, save. Now look what happens. We'll do it step by step. So now if I ls, I'll see that I have these two new files here, and this is the beauty of the command line. I can, of course, when I was running before, I would just say Java temperature converter, and it would take my input from the standard input, like I would have to type it on the keyboard. But on the command line, you also have the option of saying, using the less than sign to direct the inputs, the contents of a file into the input so that you don't have to type it. So look at this, converter.in. If I run it like this, it takes that 22 out of the file, and it just puts my output here. Isn't that magical? Now if I want to save that output, like say if I want to save this output to a file, then I can maybe say something like Java temperature converter less than sign temp converter.in, maybe greater than sign temp converter.out. Greater than sign makes the output go to this file. Okay, now I'm just going to do a quick looking in JEdit at my new file. So I'm going to open it up and look at the output file, and there I have all of my output. I guess I should put these in my output as well. So then the idea is then you can look at your output files and compare it to the expected and make sure you're getting what you expected. If I want to do it programmatically, I should add these to the expected file. I forgot that I was going to have to add these in. So that's just a brief overview. I'll talk about this a little bit more as we go ahead and write more complicated programs, but this is just a nice introduction to how you can take input from files into your program and then output to other files and to use for testing purposes.